Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. He got 2 guesses. I get 0 guesses.
Sorry, I have no idea twice. Look, Tomahawk gave you the heads up. He said,
I was trying to work my way through the clues, and then
Were
Tomahawk
ya?
gets 2 guesses.
and you got slapped in the face with a fish.
Not
By
having
Tomahawk.
this. Not having this. Hi everybody, and welcome to Season 5, Episode 2 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that tries to keep it on the road, but keeps on hitting the curbs. I'm your host as always, Mr Luvva Luvva, and with me are my co-hosts.
Howdy, lover. How's it cooking?
All right, mate, now that this challenge is over, I'm not going to lie, I feel a lot better.
We've been put through it this week, especially after last week's drama. My goodness, Tomahawk, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. As I said before, I feel as if I've just come back from some sort of 3-game suspension. But yeah, that's the past. Is the past. We're putting it behind us. We're moving forward now. I've done my time, as you say.
You say we've put it behind us, but
No, I'm never living this down.
There's no doubt we'll bring it up at every possible opportunity to really rub your nose in it.
To be fair, we
it's
brought it up
happened.
10 seconds in.
It's happened. I could have thrown a wobbly about this. I've took my punishment with grace and dignity, and I don't have to like it, but I have to respect it. So it needed to be done.
That's it. Oh, it's a lesson learned for everyone, I feel.
If you want to extend the deadline, just put a message in the group chat.
Don't be a Tomahawk. I think that's hashtag don't be a Tomahawk. Put that in the comments below.
Incredible.
Crime doesn't pay, Tom.
No,
You've learned that now.
It. It's a meme. It's in the lore now anyway.
What a way to go. What a way to kick off season 5 as well. What absolute drama. But there's new people listening to this. And they're like, what are these guys talking about? Who are these guys? What do they do here at High Scores, High Stakes? Well, we at High Scores, High Stakes are a competitive PlayStation podcast. And we compete against one another in a PlayStation Gaming Challenge League. Every week we play a new game and play a challenge in that game. The winner of the challenge gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, third place gets 1 point. Whoever is top of the league at season's end, 12 weeks, wins the coveted, fought over, highly desired, available on Fourth Wall. It is the High Scores, High Stakes Championship Cup, being modelled not by Cardinal Smith, but for the first time ever, it is Tomahawk.
And it is a thing of beauty, I must admit. That season 4 Tomahawk just is fitting.
Yeah.
Can't wait for it to say season 5 Tomahawk as well, but there we go.
There, who knows? Maybe one day. They're available on Fourth Wall. You can put wherever you want in the back of it, I'm presuming. So it could happen next week. Who knows? Who knows? But yes, if you are new here, thank you very much for giving us a chance. If you're not new here, you can probably skip forward about 30 seconds because I'm going to do the housekeeping. If you haven't yet, give us a star rating on wherever it is you're listening to us. Give us a star rating, 1 star to 5, where you think we're worth. That's what you give us. If you want to give us a written review, that's even better. If you fancy leaving comments under this video, wherever you're watching it, please do that as well. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And if 1 hour-ish of High Scores, High Stakes isn't enough to fill your week, then to get more content from everywhere we are all over the internet, go to highscoreshighstakes.com. And there you'll find links to everywhere we are all over the internet. And with all that being said, gentlemen.
Oh, yes.
It is time to ask Cardinal Smith, what are you playing?
Well, thank you, Lover. Thanks to the lovely housekeeping. The house is well kept. Welcome, new listeners. What have I been playing?
I have no idea, mate. That's why I asked.
Let me tell you. It's called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
No way.
Shock.
You're playing a Final Fantasy. What is Final Fantasy? I've never heard of it.
It's well, I don't know, but it's a fantasy, but you never reach the final one. And I'm trying to get to the end. I'm trying to get to the end of Rebirth. I get pulled by side quests. I get sucked in just when I think I progress. I have to complete every little thing on the map to progress the deck. So please
Is
send
this
help.
one of those like cut off the head, 2 more take its place in terms of the side quest completion? Yeah.
I can't remember how many it is, but each new area you go to, there's like maybe like 40 things to do within that.
Okay.
And it's like, oh my goodness, that's a lot.
Is this why we're going to wait like 4 years apart for these Final Fantasy games, just because they want to bog them down with mini games and side quests as opposed to the actual story? This is why they're taking so long to get part 3 finished.
Maybe it's just overboard with like like mini games. It's just stocked full of mini games. Like you could do an entire season of challenges worth on here in Rebirth mini games. Anyway, let's save the segment, Tomahawk.
Yes, Tomahawk. Cardinal said it in a really bad impression of me, by the way. I'm giving that a 1 out of 10, and I'm also considering taking points away from you for that horrendous accent. Terrible.
It'd be funny.
Tomahawk, please tell me, what are you playing?
I forgot you were going to ask this question, weirdly, after 114 episodes. So I've just gone into the PlayStation app just to refresh myself. I played the Cairn demo.
Oh, okay,
after the
yeah.
state of play. You can tell this game was made by people who love rock climbing and mountain climbing. It's so fiddly, pernickety, and you nearly have to use every single button on the controller to make your character do one thing or another, or attach carabiners, or do. It's a lot, but it looks gorgeous.
It really does. The state of play video for it was pretty spectacular looking.
Yeah, even the like boot up screen, when you select it, it has like the character on the side of the mountain at night, and then it goes from dusk till dawn in a really, really lovely way. And then the game boots up, and then you just kind of, there's your demo, climb this wall, here's some basic controls, and you climb up the wall, and it comes up and takes you into this like beautiful landscape, and you can pull the camera back and navigate your route and see which way you need to go. And yeah, you take like proper fall damage, and you can die straight away if you fall like at a certain height, and if you haven't strapped yourself into checkpoints on the wall. Like, it's really, really cool. It's really intricate, and I don't think the full price game is actually going to be that expensive, if I remember correctly. But
I have no idea.
One I might keep an eye out on.
Might be a bit steep.
Ooh.
One other thing I have been playing as well, and it was Redout 2.
No.
I didn't like it.
Okay, what a review. Give it a month. Let's go.
I think it tried too hard. I think it tried too hard to be Wipeout, but not even close to being Wipeout. And there was too much of like, oh, you can tilt your car up, you can tilt your car down, but you have to tilt your car up going up a hill in case you just put your nose straight into the incline of the road. Okay. It was a lot not being told as you play the game. So not my biggest fan right now, but I played it just to fill this segment.
And speaking of games that I played just to fill this segment, I scoured PlayStation Plus and I found a game called Overpass. The Overpass is basically Mud Runner from Temu.
Temu? Oh my goodness.
It is basically Mud Runner from Temu. It's fine. It was fine. I had fun with it for like the 1 hour I played of it. It's basically cars, off-road cars and off-road ATVs, and you have to drive them over and through obstacle courses or do hill climbs. And the cars react realistically, in inverted commas, to the terrain you're driving it on. Yeah, frustrating. Really, really, really frustrating. You could be making great progress, and then there's a rock that completely halts all of your progress, and you end up just spinning your wheels and then falling over and falling down a hill that you just tried to climb up. But it was fine. It was clearly low budget, and it got a sequel, so it must have done
really
something.
Let this segment down this week, guys. I
Guys,
feel as if we're just saying anything that'll stick. In this realm of existence where Final Fantasy is the best game that 3 of us have played.
I know. It is one of those ones. It is it's the first time in nearly 4 months we're back in competitive sort of gameplay mode, and I don't know about you guys, but the challenge game this week dominated my playtime. If I was on the PlayStation, I was playing the challenge game.
Well, full disclosure, the first challenge game dominated a lot of my time.
yeah. Okay, Tom's brought it up. I was going to ignore it, and then
I was going to do a lovely little shoehorn in, but no, Lover was going to ignore it there. So I figured, no, we need to address it.
We don't need to address it at all.
No, we brought it up last week, and it's going to be weird
because I cut it out of the episode. You fool.
Well, then this isn't going to make sense to anybody then.
well, since Tom's brought it up pointlessly and needlessly, the original challenge game was actually read out too. But for some reason, and I don't know why, but it's on PlayStation Plus, but it is not listed as a game on PlayStation Plus. However, if you search for Red Out 2, it shows as available via PS Plus streaming. And for some reason, only I had that issue because you two were able to find it, download it, play it. I had to stream it. And of course, on the PlayStation 5, if you're streaming the game, you cannot capture your gameplay. So therefore, Red Out 2 was not a viable game.
DNF.
So we changed it. And this segues beautifully into this week's challenge game, which is Ride 5. Cardinal Smith has put his foot down and said, I demand a racing simulator. But I am bored of four wheels. I don't want to play Assetto Corsa. Is that what it's called?
Assetto Corsa Competizione.
Yeah, he said, I don't want to play that. I'm sick of four wheels. I'm bored of four wheels. Let's bring it down to 2. And you have chosen Ride 5, Cardinal. I say you. We voted on.
The royal you.
Well, the reason was because it had a link to us locally here, right? It had a track called the Northwest 200, which is a road race on the north coast of Ireland.
Yep.
And that is what we've decided to do. Road racing on bikes, famously easy.
I mean, yeah, it's the easiest thing in the world. I think Oscar Wilde said that. Show me a man who can't road race on a motorcycle and I will show you a liar, I think was the exact quote. That is highbrow literary references there for the masses out there. Mm-hmm. But we went one step further than just picking a bike and racing it around the north coast of Northern Ireland. We decided to turn off all the assists on the bike. So no braking assist, no steering assist, no accelerating assist, none of it. Apart from the ideal racing line, I thought taking that off might be one step too far.
That proved necessary, right?
Yeah.
Even though some of us on this podcast have lived on near these roads,
yeah.
We just needed to know where it was going next. What was the next corner? And my goodness, we've all talked about the games we played, and like how we didn't think of them were great or they were difficult to control. This was 12 times harder to control.
This one was wild. This one was wild. But we will keep all further conversations of Ride 5 in the challenge section. So let's get there now. And here we are, gentlemen. Another week, another challenge. This one was particularly brutal. But before we get into this week's challenge, let's just recap what happened last week. I'll keep it really brief. Here's the Cliff Notes. Me and Cardinal played really well. Tom cheated. Tom got punished. All right, that's the Cliff Notes. So at the end of episode 1, the league table looked like this. In third place on 3 points, Tomahawk. In second place on 6 points is our friend Cardinal. And in first place with 7 points, well earned, hard earned 7 points, is me. That is the state of play before we get into this one. But Tomahawk, we're talking about Ride 5 now. How'd you find it?
I thought GT7 was a big learning curve. This was in the stratosphere of learning curves.
Yes.
Hard work, especially when like the sort of overall parameter was do a valid lap. That was go as far as you can before your lap becomes invalid, that being the stipulation. Oh man, that was hard.
Yeah, yeah.
And let's be clear,
Hard.
this is a survival challenge first and foremost.
This isn't
Right.
a racing game. This is a survival. This is a survival challenge first and foremost.
Yeah, it is. It is. As me and Cardinal were talking about just in the preamble before we came into this section, we decided, yeah, the Northwest 200, one of the most notoriously difficult tracks in road racing, 250cc motorbikes, no driver assists apart from the racing line. I didn't realize how difficult this was going to be. I thought, okay, the big issue here might be having a slow lap time, but at no point did it ever come across my mind that actually completing a single lap would be as difficult as it was. And then when you complete the lap, if you complete a lap, you're like, okay, what now? So let's talk about things that invalidate your run here. So you talked about it has to be a valid lap. So there is certain things that you can and cannot do. So basically, things that invalidate your lap are crashes. So they don't have to be big crashes. If you hit a curb and fall off your bike, that's an invalid lap. If you have a big crash, like a big one, that will invalidate your current lap and then your next lap as well, which is wild. And then other things that will invalidate your lap are exceeding the racing sort of limits of the road. So going on a footpath or cutting a corner too much, that will invalidate your lap. And it can be by a foot or a millimeter in my experience.
There's parts where you can touch the grass absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Even cut it slightly. And then there's corners where you just like slightly brush a blade of grass, lap invalidated.
And then that's it. It's when because it doesn't even come up. So that massive on the screen, it's like this little tiny red box that just says run invalid or next lap invalid. And you might be like a quarter of a way down the road, then you realize you've done something wrong. And then it's the dreaded start reset lap sequence that you have to remember.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing this week. So the scoring system for this is just going to be our classic 3-2-1. Whoever completes the lap the fastest, or if none of us complete a lap, whoever travels the furthest within that lap is going to get 3 points. The person who completes the lowest amount of distance gets the 1 point, with everything else in between. But shall we get to the challenge right now? The running order is going to be bottom of the league to top of the league. So it's going to be Tomahawk first, Cardinal second, and then me to finish it off. But let's get there now. Let's go. And here we are, gentlemen, at the start of a new age, a new dawn of Tomahawk. An honest motorcycle racing man. Tomahawk, this is your run. This is your run. You're going to set the benchmark for me and Cardinal, just for a quick reiteration of the rules. Fastest lap, and if none of us complete a lap, then it is the person who travels the furthest within the lap before they invalidate their run. So I'm going to pass the mic to you, Tomahawk, so you can talk us through what you were thinking, what happened on the track. You talk us through a whole heap of whatever you feel is relevant at a particular time. So the mic is yours, mate.
This is the laugh. There was not much thinking going on in this. There was, we obviously had to think on our feet to get this new challenge set up. So I'm letting you guys sort of take the helm on that and figuring out what game suited best. And I was like, I've played it once before. I figured it out. I will fumble my way through this now. The one thing I didn't realize is that the lap time doesn't actually start until you
past
hit the second corner. Yeah, but it's well into the second or third corner at this point. So I was like, I'm doing really well. And then in all of my other attempts for this, it was like, I never made it past the second corner. Never mind.
Yeah. The amount of runs. So for those who have never played this, or if you're listening to this, it's a time trial, and it starts with a roll and start. So the computer is controlling your motorbike as it approaches the second last corner, and then the game just goes, okay, you take over from here. It just says go, and you're like, just finish a corner, and if you don't realize what's going to happen, you're going to hit the curb, you're going to fall, and you're going to invalidate your lap before you get anywhere near the starting line.
Yeah.
It is wild. This game is brutally unforgiving. This first corner gave me nightmares, by the way.
Oh yeah, that first hairpin, it took me so long, and it was more so, I was like, oh, it's automatic transmission. That's grand. That's how I happy enough with the racing games. I forget that you can just sort of override that and manually gear down. So I got it learning really quickly that basically manually gear down to gear 1 for all these slow, windy turns, and then just hammer down. I think we're coming up to like the first major straight.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was just like, I've navigated the tricky parts. Now I can kind of coast my way, just put the foot down, get max speed on this, and make up for a bit of lost time, because there was a lot of fumbling around the inner city streets, we'll say, at this point.
Yeah. The Port Rush, the Port Stewart starting area is so difficult. That first corner is wild, and it leads you on to the first roundabout. Cardinal, what's the first roundabout? Is it University Roundabout? Is that what it's called?
At York Corner.
York, wild.
York Corner is the big tight one. Yep.
It is so difficult. Like, one thing I will say about this challenge is every time I invalidated a run, and this is probably the wrong thing to do, I would just automatically restart. So I became extremely familiar with the first 2 corners of this track. And it was one of those things, I was like, maybe I should be just finishing the lap, even if it's invalid.
Get to learn the track. Yeah, that was my thinking, because this first straight is quite handy, because that's all it is. It is a straight until you hit a pretty drastic hairpin left.
Yeah, every corner is a hairpin.
Yeah, and then it's so that this little tiny straight is just roundabout on roundabout on roundabout, basically, and it gets to a point later on in the second straight that I was like, that's fine, and it wasn't fine, because it takes a little slight turn on it, and you just careen. If you're not paying attention, you just careen straight through it, and your character just ragdolls his way through the sky.
Never to be seen again.
That's it. But like, I really enjoyed this now, because I haven't done the GT challenge. It was like, okay, you get the racing line, you get to learn the track sort of as you go. Yes, as you say, we probably should have just ran the lap over and over again, and then when we're putting a submission in, then we can start thinking about resetting. But I did eventually just mute all of the audio of this game and just do it in complete silence. The engine rev was just getting on my nerves, to say the least. Because you can see here, my racing lines are getting a little bit wobbly at this point.
I am glad you brought up the engine noise, because obviously this is only a 250cc, so this is like the lowest class of motorbike in the game. So it is. And when you hit maximum speed, it just sounds like it's just this single droning noise. I don't know if they just stuck a mic onto a motorbike and just revved the life out of it to get that noise, or if they just let a computer approximate what that bike would sound like at maximum speed. But oh my days, the noise of that motorbike went through me. I tried to play it on mute, but I found that the game does a really good job of giving you like audio feedback on a lot of different stuff. So you lost a lot of the game and a lot of your feedback by muting
a lot of sensory stuff. What I will say as well is we've just ticked over the 4-minute mark here as well. So what I assume at this point is a really, really good time. But what I will sort of highlight on this, and I really, really enjoyed, is the haptic feedback on the controller. And even when you reset the run, and the controller goes loose, and you can feel everything firm up where it needs to in the triggers. I thought that was really nice and just really intuitive on especially on these racers that we do.
Yeah, that's what I like that as well. Once the control, just before the control is handed to you, you feel your triggers ease up and then tighten under your fingers. It feels amazing. And it's like, okay, let's go. And just the haptics of each sort of side of the controller, you can feel your back tire losing traction and stuff on it's the haptics are amazing. So it is a really, haptic wise, a really, really, really good racing game, right up there with Gran Turismo 7 for me.
Yeah, to be absolutely honest. So we're just taking over 5 minutes, and I think I'm on this, what I would have assumed is the home stretch at this point. I just maybe navigate a little bit more of the town, more of the tighter roads at this point. Again, 5.5 minutes at this point. I'm going, is this good? Is this a bad run? I don't actually know.
Yeah.
And then this happens.
Oh no! Oh my days! Right, for audio listeners, Tomahawk has just kicked in where the rolling demo starts. So this is the third last corner. You come off the main road and you go onto a hard shoulder type corner. And just going into that hard shoulder, Tomahawk has met the grass verge and dumped himself off the bike, invalidating his lap. The good news is you've travelled a long old way on this track. A very,
Sure
very,
have.
very long
The
way.
problem is, though, it was one of those moments, do you stick or twist?
Yeah.
And for life wasn't lifing. I was like, it took the time it took to get this fully downloaded and all the race modes available was leaving deadlines very, very tight. So this was very much the best and most collected run that was able to be put together.
I mean,
we're talking 3 turns from a completed lap.
From the end.
End, yeah.
To be honest, of those 3 corners, one of them is the one you crashed on there is one of 2 hard turns. So you only had one more hard corner.
I think there was that pause. It's pretty immediate, that pause. And I just sat with the controller in my hand, and I genuinely was like, you could see if you're watching on the video, you'll see where my little white dot is, and you can see the white line, and it's practically on top of each other. My heart sunk, but I figured that was as good as the time was going to allow for me. So
yeah. If it eases the sensation of being absolutely devastated, that wasn't the finish line. So it's not. So that's you fell off where the rolling demo starts.
Yeah.
So you were in a position on the track called Juniper Hill, which is just be ahead of the start finish straight. So as you said, 3 corners, but you're right there at the end of the track. You'd almost completed a full lap.
It was heartbreaking. I knew I was that close. I knew I was so close just to putting 1 lap in, and it would have just been a one and done at that situation.
Yeah,
but
Sherry special,
very much a Sherry special, and but I'm happy with what was put together given the time frame that we did have to work this one. So that's the benchmark.
Yeah, that is the benchmark, and it's a good one.
99% of the track.
That's a good one. A good 96% of the track completed, and it wasn't a bad time. Like, me and Cardinal were sort of having the bants in the group chat last night. What's the record in this track?
4.5 minutes is the world record.
Minutes, yes,
which is crazy. But yeah, 5:38. But Juniper Hill is where Tomahawk leaves that benchmark for the rest of us to beat. But do we beat it? Well, we'll find out in a bit. But before we find out that, we're going to go to this week's first Name That Game, hosted by Cardinal Smith. Let's get there now.
And what about that, folks? I can't believe how far Tomahawk actually got. Well done.
I thought he had a lap. Generally, it's like, he's done a lap here. He's done a lap.
We're thinking this is a survival challenge, and Tomahawk's only gone and survived until he face planted the ground,
and then used his cheekbones as brakes, which is a really nice touch, really artistic choice as well.
Suboptimal for braking though. Not the fastest way around the track on the cheekbones, but let's get the cheekiness out of the way because we are here for Name That Game. Bad synopsis version.
Bad synopsis.
Let's recap where we were last week. Luvva went ahead 1-0, and then Tomahawk from the shadows, like a phoenix to the flame, said the name of a game, and it just happened to be right. Yeah. It's ridiculous. That makes it 1-1.
Factually incorrect though, because Symphony of the Night was the first game last week.
And tonight, folks,
calling you all out. Nothing gets past me this season.
In season 5, Luvva wants to win. Let's break the deadlock straight early doors here.
Let's go.
Here is your bad synopsis. You escape prison, beat up people with a fish, help an old lady carry groceries, then fight your sworn rivals shirtless on a rooftop because honor. Gentlemen, Name that game.
Is this Sleeping Dogs?
No.
Okay, but I have no idea. Read it again for me.
You escape prison, beat up people with a fish, help an old lady carry groceries, and then fight your sworn rivals shirtless on a rooftop because honor.
I have no idea.
I thought you had it there.
I
thought you had it too.
I thought I had it, and then you got to the fight your rival topless on top of a building.
So I have one more guess in the tank.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's really only the series. I can't narrow it down to the one game, but
yeah, I honestly have no idea.
Is it a Yakuza game?
There's so much in that.
So I'll stop you there because the answer is Yakuza. Well done, Tomahawk.
Oh, whoa. He got 2 guesses. I get 0 guesses.
Sorry, I have no idea twice. Look, Tomahawk gave you the heads up. He said
I was trying to work my way through the clues, and then Tomahawk gets 2 guesses,
and you got slapped in the face with a fish.
Not having
Tomahawk.
This. Not having this.
2-1.
Sure,
Tomahawk.
I'll just next round. I'll say every game I can think of repeatedly until I get the right one.
I feel like Tomahawk gave you some notice, right? I think he even gave you a clue when he said, "I think it's a series, but I'm not sure which game."
I'm not getting involved. You two can fight this one out.
I think that's nonsense. But whatever.
Well, that's the chaos we're working with. 2-1. Tomahawk.
I can think of a couple more phrases to describe that rather than chaos.
Let's get into our next ride run.
Right, Cardinal. It's your turn. You are up. And the beautiful thing for you is, unlike Tom, you know exactly what needs to be done here. You know how far you have to get as a minimum. Oof. Ideally, you want to get a lap time in, though, because I know you're a competitive man, especially when it comes to racing simulators. So let's hit the play button, and you can talk us through everything, and I mean everything.
Everything. Well, it all started when I was a young boy. No, look, I didn't really think we'd get through a lap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, coming into this challenge and trying it, especially with sort of short notice on this one.
Yeah.
But here we are. I
did that numerous occasions for audio listeners. Cardinal has just been given control of his bike, and in the first corner, he's
careened off the side
right into a curb and set himself flying. So Cardinal's invalidated his lap before it's even begun. Incredible. But that was just a warm up. I can tell. I know it's just a warm up. You do this all the time. You tease us.
I was thinking I was going close to the curb there, and
I was like, that was very, very, very close there. It's like, if this is his run, it's not getting off to a good start.
I was thinking, I saw the run time on this video, and it was not 7 seconds.
Oh, let me tell you. Okay, so now we're off to the run proper, I presume. Remind me to trim my videos a little better next time. I got very good at restarting and resetting on the fly. But here we are, folks. I really wanted to do this because we did the golf challenge. I can't remember the 2K golfing challenge, and we did that at Newcastle Royal Down.
Oh yes,
mm-hmm. Yep.
So just to give us another kind of localized gaming challenge, this sort of fitted the bill. And then my aunt's used to live on the right just here, and we're coming up to the road where I used to live, just up there, Burnside Mews, shout out.
Cardinal Smith is single-handedly doxing himself in this entire run.
I love it, because do you want to know what? I was doing exactly the same thing when I was racing this, and Mrs. Luvva was watching. I was like, "Oh, see that road there? I used to live up there. Come Court, represent."
Yeah, there's a garage. I was in this garage all the time, and then just 2 roads past it, you got the Swivenish Avenue. There it is. Hello, boys.
Yep.
Anyway, we get onto the Cremore.
That is not just any ordinary garage. That is Tolan's, and that is Super Value Store of the Year 2022. You have, you know.
I get awfully close to the curb here. Now, I had a big accident here. This is the station corner, and you're going down the Cremore roundabout down to University Corner. It's a long straight here, and It's the road we took to go to uni a lot of times.
Yeah,
It gets awfully narrow at 206 kilometers an hour.
it does.
Oh yeah,
It
no,
does.
definitely.
I think I said this last night to you guys, but this road here, I think it's the Cremore Road. It's felt an awful lot shorter at 206
Oh, yeah.
kilometers an hour than what it did at 60 miles an hour in a Renault 19.
Absolutely.
Like it is good though. Like the Roland's like cityscape and like the scenery on this, it is like captured really, really well. You can usually just get some generic countryside, and then they go, "Oh, it's Portrush, Port Stewart," but no, it's really, really well captured in its likeness. To be honest, for the most part,
It's really strange because obviously, Cardinal, you'd probably back me up on this one. I recognized everywhere. I was like, oh, this is, you turn right here and this will bring you out here and all sort of stuff. But the houses are just like generic Unreal Engine prefab assets.
Yes.
But it was like this weird sort of, I recognize here, I recognize this, I recognize that, but nothing looks like it does in reality. But it's a really good looking game.
Yeah, you can believe the farms are like American, like outback farm. Anyway,
yes.
We're through a roundabout here, Byside roundabout, which was the bane of my life. This is where you touch a blade of grass and your lap's invalidated. But so far, we're all right. We're all
3 minutes in, we're doing okay. Yeah, we're into the second long straight.
Yeah, and I'm taking it very easy. I nearly lose it there on the exit of Mathers Chicane, and again on the exit.
It's good to know that we had that same wobble as well. That's like you are constantly course correcting for fear of not even for cutting the edge, just for fear of tipping over.
Yeah, it's the fear of tipping over, but it's also the direction. You have to commit to the direction you're going in, you're turning in. There's no backing out. Once you choose to turn in, you're leaning into that corner and you're making that turn. If you've lent too early, you're gone, and if you lent too late, you're gone. And if you change your mind, you're gone.
Yeah, 100%. There's no quick adjustments. Is you commit or you fail.
Oh, it's the definition of full send, this game.
Wow,
look at that.
Now, what I'll say is you've cut that.
So I went on the grass there, and it didn't invalidate my lap.
I mean, not only did you go on the grass, you rode the whole way down the grass back into Port Rush. It's incredible. I did not know you could do that. Because every time I touched a blade of grass, it was crazy. But just you two were talking about there, when you slow right down, it becomes really like twitchy controlled. And it feels really difficult at low speeds too. But I presume, I've never been on a motorbike, but I presume they're heavy. And the slower you go, every little shift of weight feels more pronounced. But there was times where I slowed down too much, and then just in the act of turning, the rider just falls over.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say, for all like the real life like racing sim of this game, what it lacks in is the ragdoll physics. When your rider does come off, he either stays completely static. That was very tight.
Was very close to the curb.
Very close.
Inches away from the curb. Absolutely beautiful.
The rider stays either in that static, hunched over, gripping the steering model.
Yep.
Or he just goes completely prone, arms, stiff legs, and just flies across the air. Does the Tony Hawk Christ air, if you will.
The T-shape or whatever it's called.
This is where Tomahawk went off.
Cardinal has nailed it.
But Cardinal's done a... I don't know if I call it nailing it, but you stayed on the black stuff.
He stayed on the bike.
You stayed on the black stuff, and that's the main thing. I am
going at a snail's pace through these last corners. Suddenly I recognize where I am, and I'm like, okay, just hold it together. I have not completed, I've never got this far in any attempt.
Oh, wow. Fair play. Okay. He's going to complete the lap. He's done it. That's the last corner. He's went round it, and he's done a beautiful job. Absolutely beautiful.
That is
6 minutes dead.
6 minutes. Yeah, .00. Which, not the fastest in the world.
But this is the lap, though. You only have to finish now. It doesn't matter about speed at that point. Like you have completed one full lap of that, Cardinal. So that was, it was dicey at parts. But that's it. I mean, at the end of the game, you finished the lap. So well done there.
It's always going to be dicey though, because I don't know about you too. I don't know how much time you put into that, Cardinal. I think I have something like 3 hours on this game just from playing it relentlessly. And I've only played this one track other than the tutorial. But I don't know about you, but you know when you play a game and you get like 2 hours in and then the mechanics start sinking in and you go, oh, I understand this game now. I know what it wants me to do. Never got that with this. Never got that with this game at all.
Every attempt was learning something new.
But this is it, guys. How often were you doing a run and you would get really far? The furthest you would have got at that point, crash, restart, and then immediately crash in the first corner of your repeated attempt.
Oh, you just regress.
Having not learned anything.
Yeah. After my run, I'll tell you my heartbreaking story. Okay, because I have an absolute heartbreaker of a story, but it is wonderful. But yeah, so that means after Tom and Cardinal's runs, Cardinal, you're currently in first position. So right now, as things stands, you are walking away with 3 points, dependent on entirely on what I can do. Tomahawk, right now, you're on 2 points.
2 points for falling off at a random corner. I'll take that.
But here, if I fall off at a random corner and it's before that random corner you fell off, it was worth it, wasn't it?
Points in, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. But yeah, so that means that's how we're standing here. So Tomahawk, you fell off your bike at Juniper Hill, and Cardinal, you completed a lap of the Northwest 200. How does it feel? That's incredible. Not many people can say that, you know.
It was a big... What? It was a big relief. It is the only time I completed the lap. That was the only effort. Yeah. I did. That's good. I did many runs over the course of what must have been 2 hours. I'll check my playtime. But I just played it last night.
Yeah.
This is a real intense, like, quite literal crash course for the three of us playing this. And I think I think like
crash course
in these like challenges, we usually get one person who's clearly played it longer than the other.
Yeah.
This one was like so condensed. Everyone has played it. I would say you're talking minutes more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it's one of the very few challenges where the group chat we used for organizing the podcast was just constant messages with expletives and just a whole mini reviews of the game. 2-word reviews.
It was 3 words. Let me tell you how I feel. Going off the group chat and how we were talking to each other. This is me completing that lap. I felt euphoric, and I thought, "That's it, 3 points in the bag. Thank you very much."
Oh yeah,
I love it. And speaking of points in the bag, you gifted Tom a point in the last round of Name That Game. Let's see if you can gift me one here in this round of Name That Game. Let's get there now.
Hello and welcome back. This is Name That Game. Bad synopsis. Bad synopsis. Now, it's 2-1 to Tomahawk. And Luvva says, "Oh, I want that point. Give me a point because I deserve it because it's my God-given right." Well, Sonny Jim, you're going to have to guess the name of this game. Let me read it to you. You wake up in a magical land where a voice tells you to commit animal-assisted murder so you can bring your girlfriend back. You say nothing. You ride a horse. You feel increasingly bad.
Yeah, it's Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh!
I was nearly going to say Red Dead Redemption 2 for some reason. As soon as you said horses and feeling bad and killing, I was just like, yeah, that sounds exactly like cowboys.
The answer is, of course, Red Dead Redemption. No, it's Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah. Almost had him, folks.
Nah, you didn't.
No, not even close. We're playing 2 different sports at that stage.
What was it that gave it away? Was it the magical land, animal-assisted murder, bring your girlfriend back, you saying nothing, riding horses, or you feel increasingly bad?
Animal-assisted murder. and that you feel increasingly more bad. And I was like, that's 100% Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, like anyone watching the video, you could just see it. Everything just turned and clicked on for Luvva there, and he went, okay. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, he's got this. I'm just going to stay quiet for this section.
Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Why am I playing as Raiden?
For a game called Bad Synopsis, that was a pretty good synopsis for that game, to be fair to you. I mean, to be fair, it
And
nails
that's
the
bad
game.
synopsis. Name that game. Thanks for playing.
Well, we haven't split anything here. I mean, look, we've ended this week at 2 apiece.
Yeah. If Cardinal just stopped handing out points willy-nilly, it would be a much more competitive arena.
I said, name that game's gone to the dogs here. It's anarchy
gone.
at this point.
We're going to have to reevaluate, name that game as the official game show of High Scores, High Stakes, or just reevaluate Cardinal ever hosting anything ever again. But
bit of column A, bit of column B.
Yeah. But now it's my
I'm going to do
favorite.
a cameo because I'm going to need the work for anything you need hosted. Thanks very much.
You're going to take a job at the NI Tourist Board now, just advertising the Northwest 200.
Just said Juniper Hill a lot.
If anyone is listening from the NI Tourist Board, sponsorship would be great. We'll just do nothing but NI based sport games.
Absolutely. Back to boy chicane, Bally Sally roundabout. And speaking of which, let's get into Luvva's ride.
Let's go. And here we are, gentlemen. We've seen Tomahawks. We've seen Cardinals. Now it's time to witness greatness. Now you're playing with power. Luvva power. Cardinal, let's just hit play on this and I'll talk us through everything that I have done in my pursuit of motorcycle greatness. I'm making my way into Northern Irish street racing history books. It's incredible to watch this here. So I played this a lot. I'm not going to lie. I didn't particularly enjoy my time at the start, but the more I played, as you said, every little lap you learned a wee bit more. The most important thing I learned was the slower you go, the harder it is. The turning becomes extremely twitchy. So what I did was I went into my bike settings and I adjusted my chain length in order to introduce some understeer. And it
Oh my goodness.
And it fixed my issues up completely. I wouldn't say completely, but it made the bike way more manageable. So yeah, that's what I did. That was the only setting I changed. I think it was chain length or something like that. But it's like the longer it is, the more understeer you introduce. So I turned it up 2 notches and then did it like half a lap. And I was like, that feels a lot better. That was really sketchy. So that was the first hairpin go. So it is, and I come extremely close because of my understeer.
It's the people who are watching this audio only are just going to hear us randomly gasp and go, oh my God.
Yeah.
And that's because we're watching a bike that is narrowly missing curbs around a road.
Like, I'm genuinely watching you, like, that's giving me anxiety watching that. But you're out of the town as such now, so
yeah, we're leaving.
All the tricky bits are done.
We're leaving.
And when Luvva talks about this chain and he's gone into the settings of the bike, you start to see differences in our run because he's gone through Mill Road roundabout there at a much tighter and neater angle than either Tomahawk or myself could get close to, because the bike was uncontrollable at low speed.
Yeah, completely uncontrollable. And I just lengthening the chain just really fixed that off from it. Don't get me wrong, it's still twitchy as all heck at low speeds, but it felt nicer to me. And it just allowed me to get a few smoother lines, and it allowed me a wee bit more throttle on like the roundabouts and longer corners. I just felt like if feathering, I thought in this game, but before I adjusted my motorbike, every corner needed feathered just to keep your traction anywhere near usable. Whereas this one, I could like fully release the accelerator when I had the brake, and it didn't the bike didn't wobble half as hard.
Yeah.
So right now we're flying down University Road. We're coming up the University corner into Ballysally roundabout. It is smooth. It's super smooth. In fact,
a lovely left turn.
A wee bit of understeer, because I found, I don't know about you too, I found that if you eased the analog stick into the corners, you kept more speed and it just felt nicer to play and less like you were fighting the bike.
Yeah, there's a
lot of adjustments around that roundabout.
It's gliding the control stick sort of into your corners as opposed to the very jarring, I'm going to hit the apex and go hard left or hard right, really. Yeah, no, when it worked like a dream.
Yeah.
And then other times you're like, nope, I've missed that. Oh, no. So it is there's finesse to the steering on this one, definitely.
100%, 100%. It's just right now we're flying down towards Port Rush here, and we're 3 minutes 10 seconds, and we're at the chicane. And like Cardinal, I was like, I haven't got this far very often. I am going to take it nice and easy, and then just absolutely rattle the accelerator once I hit the straight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly what I did. I was just like, take it nice and easy.
Really, really tidy. That just like nice, neat, controlled, and mostly in that predetermined racing line as well. Which I don't know about you guys, did at some points find like it's always nice to have, but not religiously sticking to it.
Yeah. I found the racing line did something really important for me, and that was teach me braking points. So for audio listeners, your racing line is blue, but when you're coming up to your braking point, it will change from yellow to red. And you obviously, ideally, if you haven't started braking by red, you're going to absolutely cane a wall.
You're either going to crash or you're going to oversteer or understeer into it.
You're in big trouble. I found that if you brake at the end of the blue, so you're braking before it turns yellow, then it allows you to get a proper angle in on the corners. Another thing I found on the corners was feathering's really useful. Obviously, it always is and it always will be in racing games, but gradually putting the power on, and I mean really gradually. So the only time I took my finger off the accelerator was at the end of the University Road up to Ballysally roundabout. Every other time I would ease off the accelerator until it was barely on for corners. But I always had the power on, and I found it made this game, I say easier, manageable, like
workable,
absolutely
manageable.
So right now we're coming into the back end of Port Rush via Juniper Hill.
Just tucked into 5 minutes 10 seconds as well. So you're making good time. No,
50
really,
seconds
really
to beat Cardinal. Yeah.
But for everyone who doesn't know, this is like, it's called the Triangle. It's between Port Stewart, Coleraine, and Port Rush, and the track is literally a triangle.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it's delightful. I'm past Tomahawk.
Used his cheekbones to brake, and he's through. And we got just the final corners to come up. Oh, he's brushed the curb.
I kissed the curb there. My heart was in my mouth. I was like, please no. I've never gotten this far before. Please no. And again,
he's brushed the curb again.
Mm-hmm, I put that down to the understeer or the angle of the turn.
Oh, I don't believe it.
That is me crossing the finish line.
Wow.
That is me crossing the finish line in 5 minutes and 55 seconds.
I'm going to round it up to 5:56 just to create more drama, but
that is ridiculous. Love it. You
lovely.
give no indication at all that you're anywhere near completing a lap in the chat.
No,
you are
I didn't.
Gaslighting little
that
fiend.
This is really slick.
This is called. Remember, we were talking about coexistence on our Gamerfest review episode, and I said, I don't know. I really like the way you can't see the other player's cards because it creates a mystery. I was hiding my cards from you, Cardinal. All right, I knew exactly what I did, and it could have been worse. It could have been worse for you. I'll tell you my heartbreaking story. Okay, right after I did that, you can see me hit pause, and that was me saving the record. And then I went down to restart rolling start, and my lap directly after that, I was at the start line after the lap was complete, and I was on 5 minutes 27 seconds. And just as I crossed, I was celebrating so much. As I crossed the finish line, my back wheel touched the grass, invalidated.
Wow.
Absolutely brutal. That was the point.
I'll take things that didn't happen for 5 points. No, wait.
Do you remember my message where I said, that's me done, I quit in this game? That was straight after I touched the grass on the way over the line with my back.
Incredible.
Absolutely
now,
brutal.
Before we go and see what that's done for the league table, I just want to ask you guys, how many times did you actually complete a lap then? Was these two runs that we've seen the only...
No. I completed about 7 or 8 laps.
Oh, okay.
that is ridiculous. Luvva was absolutely playing us for a fiddle in the group
This is
chat.
completed
it. That
about 7 or
that
8.
extra 20 minutes that Luvva got to beta test this is paid dividends.
Do you know what? Right, I went. I hadn't completed a single lap until maybe like an hour before I quit. And I was like, I don't know what to do in this game. I can't get this at all. And I sort of backed out of the track and then just went into bike settings. And then I was like, let's see what these bike settings do. And then that's when I saw the chain lengthener and, introduce understeer or oversteer. And I was like, I wonder, once I did that understeer, like add an understeer to that motorbike, that's when I started completing laps. They weren't fast, but the fastest I went was that 120 or 528, sorry, 128. But that was a fluke because I was like, I'm never getting that again. I'll never get it again. It was a pure fluke. So it was, but it was a good. My second that lap was a banger, and it just touched the grass at the end, and I was like, "Yee."
Well, congratulations.
Anyway.
Luvva takes the challenge victory.
History has been made, and it's once again Mr. Luvva Luvva, or should I say, Mr. History Maker. That is the first time Cardinal Smith has not won a racing challenge.
Oh wow!
Actually,
all
it's
about
not
breaking records.
Actually, it's not. Let's wind back to, I think it was Wreckfest.
I won Wreckfest. That's right.
Love it. You won Wreckfest too. So that's your second.
I'm the true racing simulator king here, Cardinal. How do you like that? Beautiful. You know what? Just when you say Wreckfest, one of my favorite memories of High Scores, High Stakes is saying to Tom, it's only me and you can catch him. I'm doing faster laps. Just let me go. And he's like, all right.
No way.
Classic.
Yeah, I have no defense there. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
That's funny because if you watch back the footage of that race, I slow down in the straight to let you catch up. And
That's pulling the curtain back.
Incredible scenes. But yes, that means that this week's finishing order is exactly the same as last week's finishing order.
I love it when that happens now. It's just, it does nothing for the league table, does nothing for my plight right now, but
yeah, so at the
makes
end,
the editing job easier, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. At the end of Ride 5, the Northwest 200 lap challenge, in third place getting 1 point is Tomahawk. In second place, because he finished the lap in 6 minutes dead, Cardinal Smith. And in first place, picking up 3 points because he finished the lap in 5 minutes and 55 seconds, is Luvva.
5 seconds, like 5 seconds.
Incredible. So it's just like 4.2 seconds, really. But I'm not interested in the seconds. I'm only interested in the minutes, But that means that the league table looks like this after 2 challenges. In third place on 4 points is Tomahawk. In second place on 8 points is Cardinal Smith. And leading the way for the second week running. Can I go 7 again? That's the real question everyone wants to know. Can he go Mr. 7 in a row twice? It's me with 10 points. Luvva. Beautiful. The league is taking shape. Everyone is where they ought to be. And all I'm going to say is get that cup ordered and make sure the engraver writes Luvva. Because that's what's going to be there.
Look, 7 in a row. Look, it's not going to happen. It was a nice time, but we can't allow the dominance.
No,
we can't allow our viewers to be bored by...
I've got to keep it interesting, over the next couple of weeks, at least.
That's why the people want to see me win, the underdog, the 2-time winning.
But
let's move on.
Let's give the final thoughts on Ride. What did we think of Ride, all things considered, succinctly? Let's give it the for Metacritic review. So a couple sentences.
Taking the only having an hour and a half to play it, I enjoyed what we did do eventually. Once you got into a good rhythm and groove of it, I think I'll probably dip in and out of it every so often. Like I'll have to just deal with the insane loading times in the game to actually get all of the game modes set up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, Cardinal.
I liked you start up the game and there's like a Sean Bean style narrator going, "This is every biker's dream. The course, it flows and fluctuates like a beautiful horse," and or something like that. And okay, it's very dramatic. But I felt like it had something about it. It was realistic. I wish I'd maybe investigated those settings to make it easier to ride.
Yeah.
It's so difficult, and you have to adjust your mind to like, oh, how did you even turn the bike and commit to corners and things?
Yes.
4 wheels.
Yeah.
Very pretty, very good.
Oh yeah, as a challenge, it's tick the box. It's absolutely mission accomplished there. I think I still prefer GT7 if we're going to go racing sims.
I mean,
for the
let's be honest here.
GT7 takes it every day of the week.
Yeah. This is no GT7, but what it did, you said it after your run, Cardinal, when you struggle around a track, and I struggled massively with this game. Just getting around a single lap was a challenge in itself. And I challenge our listeners to go and install Ride 5, stock 250cc motorbike, no driver assists, do a lap of the Northwest 200 and put your times in the Discord channel or message us on Twitter or Instagram, whatever it is. But let's see how you get on. If you think we're over-exaggerating how difficult this game is, give it a go and find out. But what it does give, because it is so unforgiving, and it is unforgiving as all heck, when you cross that line with a valid lap time, it felt incredible. I felt like I had actually achieved something. Like I felt amazing.
That was the only time I managed to finish a lap. But if you played my video content on, it's just me taking photo in photo modes. I did it.
I love. I think this is a really good racing sim. Since last night I watched a few like pros play this game. It looks incredible when it's in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing and not us three incompetent fools. But in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing and understands the game and all that sort of good stuff, yeah, it looks spectacular. Like the higher difficulties, so there's like, I think there's one level where you load the game up, you pick, I've never played a racing game before. I've played racing games, but not motorbike racing games. And then there's one, I've played the previous rides, and there's one, I'm a motorcycle pro or something it's called. And that last difficulty, you have to adjust the rider's weight as the bike moves around the track. So you have to hold the front wheel down. To brake, you have to lean back and all this here business. It's just so in depth. It's crazy. Massive respect to pro ride players, but I liked it. It's no GT7, but it is it's probably the best motorcycle racing game I've probably played. I haven't played many, but of the ones I've played, this is definitely the best one.
It's better than the Manx TT arcade bikes that you sit on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
Yes, it's better than I can't remember what it's called. MotoGP, thank you. The official game. It's better than that. Doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
But it's better than
I'd back that statement.
So I will say MotoGP as a biking game, it does have like a career mode where you set yourself up and start in lower tiers and work your way up. That's really cool. I like that. And that's why I played the golf game like 2K, because you start yourself. I like anything with an RPG element.
I mean, this game has a career mode too, where you work your way up.
Yeah, and Sean Bean's there. Oh, you look at the curves of the bike and get your
I'm
hands
not
all
sure
dirty.
Straight away reboot this game up now. It's
I'm
like,
not sure
it's
it's
an
Sean
RPG
Bean.
element. I know what you mean. It's like it's that Lightning McQueen sort of I am speed kind of monologue that they give at the start.
Yeah. It's no menu system from GT7. That's all I'm going to say. And speaking of menu systems, the wrap-up section is next on our menu. Let's get there now. And that is it, gentlemen. Episode 2 of Season 5 is all wrapped up. I would say we have a new league leader, but we don't need one because I was there last week and that's where I'm going to stay all season. Gentlemen, you're welcome. You're welcome.
You need to start asking, is Luvva manipulating the league? Maybe that's the new narrative.
With challenge wins, yeah, definitely. That's how we need to look at it.
I mean,
did Tomahawk commit a crime last week? Or was he set up?
I mean, if you've been paying attention in the Discord server, there was a breaking news article after Tomahawk displayed his cup. The competitive podcast match official league have said that they're investigating every result in High Scores High Stakes history to make sure that his league title is legitimate. We get notification from the review board, and we'll let you know. But if you are thinking of doctoring the league, gentlemen, I would hold off until they leave the offices, actually.
Tomahawk has always maintained his innocence and has worked in tandem with the League Officials League.
The CPMOL for short. But yes, that is another episode all wrapped up. That was a fun one. Well, I say fun. It was I'm pretty sure my hairlines receded about
fun.
6 foot because I was ripping my hair out at some points in this. But no, it was fun. It was good. It sets up the league nice and well. We've all got points on the table, and there'll be movement in that league table throughout the season. I've no doubt in my mind. Next week's challenge game, Tomahawk, is going to be what's it called?
What's it going to be?
Playing FBC's Firebreak. It is a day one PlayStation Plus entry. It takes place in the Control universe. It is a 3-player co-op FPS. And we're going to be playing, if I remember correctly, the level is called Paper Chase. So we're going to take on a sticky note monster, and we have to fix the Federal Bureau of Control.
Okay.
I look forward to it.
I mean,
I don't know what any of that is, and I've never played Control. I will be asking you for those details in written format.
Oh yes. Next week we'll cover all of the minutiae of the Federal Bureau of Control and everything that is Remedy games. So I can't wait for next week, to be quite honest.
Yeah. So that comes out tomorrow. So this is going to be another lastminute.com challenge. So it could be good fun to watch that one. We'll have to play it. We'll have to do a few runs at least to get our heads around what the game actually wants us to do. I'm quite looking forward to it. It's not very often we cover a brand new game on High Scores High Stakes, but here we are getting right in.
That's it. Like, we're all going into it blind, which I think is great. I've watched a few kind of detail reveal trailers and a few sort of conferences on it. It's different even for Remedy, but we will tackle that next week, I think.
Yeah. And that's that out of the way. So let's just quickly wrap up the housekeeping, and then we'll see you next week. So if you want to give us a review, 1 star to 5, please do that, whatever podcast platform you're listening to. If you listen to this on YouTube, like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment. Everyone, leave a comment for us and let us know if you can beat our times in the Northwest 200 and Ride 5. And if you haven't shared the podcast with a family member or a friend who you think would like it, then do that now. Please, that is much, much, much appreciated. And if you want to get more High Scores, High Stakes content throughout your week, High Scores, High Stakes, what the neck? I'll get there at the end. highscoreshighstakes.com. I've made a mess of that. There we go. So that means it's late, I'm tired, and it is time to stop talking, which is a good thing because I have nothing left to say, except I've been Mr Luvva Luvva. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. We'll see you next Monday. Thanks for watching. Love y'all. Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.